This map plays out in TVZ. In the top right, down 1, he's the blue Zerg, Denver.
And in the bottom left side of Pillars of Gold, we look in the main base of Liquid's Clem. And I was smiling a little bit during the loading screen because unfortunately the people at home can't always see that. It's hard for us to show you that, guys, because sometimes loading into the game takes 10 seconds, but sometimes it takes 40, and we don't want to see you guys look at a loading screen for 40 seconds. But Clem is rocking the Nurcho portrait, and those kind of things, they always make me wonder. Why is Clem rocking a Nurcho portrait? Like, I just want to know the story behind it.
Yeah, it's, you know, he's French, Nurcho's Polish, he's Terran, Nurcho's Zerg.
Exactly, like none of it makes sense.
I don't know.
Clem is very nice, Nurcho is... No, I'm kidding. No, that's a joke. Oh, that's a joke.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I love the artwork, but sometimes I have definitely been like, wait, is that who I think it is? It's supposed to tell you when you pick the icon, though. Maybe he was just a fan. I mean, Clem, he's been good for quite some time. He's still very, very young, but he was like 12 and he was Grandmaster or something, right? It's very possible he actually just looked up the Nurcho for his presence as a non-Korean, right? Like many of us did back in the good old days. Although 4 years ago is not really the good old days anymore. It's 2016, it's not that long ago.
I mean, Nurcho did participate in the most recent qualifiers. It was very cool to see. Even made it to the final round twice, I think, right? He definitely played in the last one, but I think he played in the one before that as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. He made it to both. He got looked okay against Protoss and then got Protossed, I think is how he would describe it.
He beat Rodzin and then he lost to Art.
And the other one was he lost to Goblin, I believe. So
yeah, that's correct, actually.
Still had fun. Actually, still made some money because that last qualifier actually paid out. And speaking of paying out, we kind of wanted to discuss that. Like, every match win in this round robin actually does reward the European players $125. So it's actually pretty nice. Unfortunately, not map win, but when we're talking about these guys, we do expect, you know, Denver, even if he loses 2-0 versus Clem here, to win a couple of series in this round robin.
Absolutely. I actually think he can make it out. I mean, obviously Showtime is in this group, but the rest of the opponents, I think, are all very beatable for Denver. And even Showtime. I mean, Denver is ZVP. I believe more in Denver's ZVP than I believe in his ZVT. So I think Denver is going to definitely find a fair share of success. But I love that you mentioned that this is something that will always remind me of the good old days, now actual good old days, where I was playing Warcraft 3 and we were so jealous of the German scene because they had this league called the EPS, you know, the Meisterschaft, you know, the memes. And you would get €100 every week for a best of 3 you would win. And obviously all the Germans were only caring about EPS. They cared about nothing else. And the rest of the world was just looking at ESL and Germany like, this is so amazing. Why don't we have that? And it's something I've always been a fan of, especially in big round robins, right? You want to give people really something to play for. So every single best of 3 that any of these players win in the round of 32 in the big round robin, they get $125. I think it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Very good system. Got some brilliant minds back there working on bigger and better StarCraft tournaments. You have a 2-base layer this time. So Denver, he wanted to not just go for not that fast of a Spire, but he wanted to mix things up with the Burrowed Baneling. Didn't get to show it, but now he's going to go back to what we expect from a lot of Zerg players, which is to go into a 2-base Spire, actually. As he sets down his third, that is obviously delayed. Clem's going to be like, okay, what's going on? What exactly is it? He's going to get a scout?
This is nowhere near standard, though, right? What's happening? We've got Carapace on the way for Denver.
Oh, no.
And he's dropping the Roach Warren as well.
Yeah, I got caught up in my spiel about mutas, but no, absolutely. That Evolution Chamber I thought was going to be a bit of a fake out, you know, like put it on the front lines when I actually use it for a while, but there was only one, and it's clearly hidden. And the Roach Warren is also not. So it's still important is what I was talking about, though, because that late third might have Clem thinking initially about a Spire, because that's more in the meta. He's going to actually have to find out that it's not that. And I'm wondering when he can do that.
Oh, this Liberator in the main is going to be really annoying because there's only a single Queen here. That's obviously not going to be good enough. Liberator is going to unsiege. Going to siege on top of the Queen immediately. At the same time, Clem was thinking about going into the natural. I honestly think if Clem would have ignored these Queens and just dive into the natural, Clem kills like 17 drones, by the way.
Ooh, that armory finishing up was not for upgrades. It was for an actual attack. Those Queens weren't quite prepared, and there's not much yet. Roaches are being made. There's the reveal on that. And Roaches from the main base actually might just be enough here. Good set. Wait, no, stop. No, Switch to an attacker.
Yeah.
Whoops, daisy.
A couple of roaches got fried as well. Now a queen goes down in the end. Obviously, this could have been a whole lot worse for Denver, but the roach attack is now revealed. Clem is going to throw up a bunker immediately home. At this point, this looks very dicey for Clem because he's got literally 2 Marines, which is not much, but you really run up the ramp here. Pillars of Gold is one of the maps where there is a ramp heading into the natural, which makes it a little bit awkward for roaches and ravagers to get a lot done. Even though there is an overlord on the right side, it's still always a bit more tricky than when it's just flat.
That tank already being out, it's a good sign for Clem's defense. Denver can't really know that would already be out. There's a chance that it is still being used to build add-ons, but there's the tank fire, and he knows that he's probably not getting much. I'm actually unsieging his tank. Thought about moving it forward, perhaps, realizes he shouldn't take that chance, re-sieges it, prepares to defend, prepares a wall to defend that tank while a second one pops out, could go on the high ground. Clem's definitely not going to lose the game, and I don't even think this is enough damage for Denver right now, with that third CC definitely living. And all I can do is contain.
I mean, Stim is done at this point. The Marine count is at 10. It is important that Denver doesn't stick around forever. I understand he wants to be annoying and cause some more lost mining time on the side of the Terran, but this is kind of the time to go home. I'm not sure if I'm really feeling all of this for Denver. It's kind of cool that he already has Carapace, right? But I'm just kind of surprised. Like, what was the purpose of Carapace? Did he actually want to make like a Roach Ling attack with +1 armor on the Zarklings? And did it just like completely get disrupted by that Hellion attack? It's just so odd to see this build by Denver.
I think so. You know, the ideal world for any attack in the early game like that from a Zerg player is that they are deceiving the Hellions, or the Hellions get pushed back, or what have you. So in that case, the Hellions sacrifice themselves for a pretty good scout, and Denver's build does look a little off now.
Yep, this is really bad. Denver does manage to cancel his hatchery. It almost felt that Clem gave him an extra second or two there. It's like, hey, you should really cancel this. It's like, oh, thanks. Medevac drop in the main base. All of the roaches were on the other side of the map. They were not getting much done at all, Jess. This is real bad. This is so much damage out of a very simple drop out of Clem. Finding 6-7 drones, and more importantly, the cancel on the 4th base. I mean, TVZ, we always talk about how important it is for Zerg to get 4 bases up and running. Oh, okay. Well, that was not supposed to happen for Clem. That's nice for Denver. He catches a break.
Yeah, catches a little bit of a break, but Clem's not going to stop dropping. He knows he's seen enough roaches, he's seen the upgrades, he's figuring that it is actually a roach play. And the safe thing you can do there is build up your tank count, build a couple bunkers, sure, and then if you feel safe, go into drops. It looks like he's kind of reconsidering. He unloads what could have been a drop to defend his 3rd base. I guess he is not quite feeling confident without maybe a few more tanks. Actually, he has 5 that are not in position.
Considering the unit compositions that we're working with here, it's pure Roach Ravager against Marine Tank. I don't really think that Clem needs to take a crazy risk, especially right now. If you look at the supplies, it's a bit overwhelming. You're like, whoa, Denver's in a really good spot. But we all know how it goes with roaches, and that's true in ZVP, but it's even more true in ZVT. If that bio ball gets big enough, roaches is simply not going to be that good. It's important the Ravagers are in the right position here. Clem is going to stim on the hatchery. Oh no, Denver was a bit out of position, and he is going to lose this base again. And that is just disastrous. Le disaster. Now he's actually not having anything in the main base at all, so that Overlord gets picked off. More drones are going down. Oh. Like, he's up 58 supply, but I'm hating his position. I think it's safe to say he's super all in, but look at the amount of tanks on the high ground here. Clem knows exactly what's happening. Clem scans as well to make sure that Denver is on 3 bases. And if I was Clem, I would just lift his orbital up and actually defend elsewhere.
Yeah, I think that might be the safer call, but he really believes in the tanks in the high ground to help out the bio. They're still a little out of position, so you can only depend on them so much. I do love that scanner on the other 4th. Sometimes we do see a lot of mineral bank in these awkward games. Oh, good attempt to catch the medevacs. The tank numbers, though, they're still so high, and he's not actually decreasing that. So even though he's like busting the 3rd base a little bit, not only is the tank count not being decreased, he can't stop the upgrades from eventually evening out as well. And that's when Terran gets really strong. Clem even feeling so confident as to pounce on top of the Ravagers. They were unprotected by the roaches. Needs to be careful about that while he repositions his tanks, but it looks okay.
Yep. Oh my goodness, there's so many tanks. I don't think Denver has any idea how many tanks there truly are there. He does get a whole bunch of SCVs. That's cool and all. But as Denver, you need so much more here, guys. You need to take care of almost all the tanks. You need to get every single SCV. And that is just not going to be the case. Even after killing 17 SCVs, at this point, he's got an inferior economy. The economy of Clem is better. Triple orbital is easily better than that 7 drone advantage that Denver currently has. And if I look at the tech tree, Jess, it's very sad because it's roaches. Roaches, roaches, nothing else.
And they're about to be even worse on upgrades. 2-2-1 is finishing for Clem, and Denver has not added on any banelings to complicate matters. He's not trying to add on any emergency fungals, which we kind of see people dip back into, like, you know, the old days of StarCraft to try and come back. There's really nothing else going for Denver. I mean, I think if this wasn't a tournament series, after that attack, he probably taps out. Because it is, he doesn't want to tap out quite yet. But he's got to, I mean, defend perfectly against any drops that Clem wants to do. And if Clem doesn't want to do a drop, he just wants to build up and move out when maxed, that also works. And that's also going to be scary for Denver to deal with. I do love the tunneling clause and try and get some harassment.
I love it as well, and I think it's very good in general. If the army supplies are not that big yet, but I think by the time that tunneling clause is done, Clem is going to have over 100 army supply. And then I have a hard time believing that roaches can really get a lot done. Denver's going to try his luck one more time, which obviously means he's going to take more damage on the left top side. This is not something I think he can really run into. There are still so many tanks on the high ground. They're still there, Denver. You cannot get in range of those. He's losing drones on the top left side. And I actually think we're getting very close towards the end of this game. Because I think Denver knows the writing is on the wall here. As he has taken care of quite a few bio units. But this is still just not good enough. He needs so much more than what he's getting.
Losing the 4th base. If he had 2 bases mining with 70 drones, it's still a game. But even as he cleans up most of the bio and moves in to try and take out the tanks, there's still 2 tanks on the high ground. He didn't stop mining at that 3rd, and he didn't stop the 4th from actually completing. GG, Clem with the